Back for the next small episode of the 5 and 5 series. Today we will be chatting via Teams with Don Smith. He is an account manager at our Brechbuhler Scales location in Columbus, Ohio. We will be discussing with him and going over all things grain and farm management. So let's get into it.
Hair all in place.
It looks perfect. Tell us your name, how long you've been with Brechbuhler, what do you do, what's the typical role or day for Don look like?
Yep, no problem. So my name's Don Smith. I've been with Brechbuhler Scales for 21 years. Started as a technician with some computer experience as a hobby. So about 5 years as a technician, and then I moved over to the sales position. Not that I would say I'm a salesman. I'm more of a problem solver. You can go out and what problem do they have and what help can I give? And that's how I approach, the customer. Typical day, it could be vary greatly, whether I'm working on some industrial project, weighing tanks or weighing something in motion or just typical floor scales or truck scales, but everything is different. No 2 days are the same. No two projects are the same.
All right. So we'll just go ahead and jump into it. We're going to talk about grain and farm management today with you. What are the biggest challenges that farmers face when optimizing truck scales for agriculture? How do the best agriculture truck scale systems solve them for accurate grain transport?
So I think the two issues with truck scales and agriculture is the durability and time. So while the scale's only being used seasonally, it's going to see heavier loads than your typical truck scale. Everything that runs across that scale is probably going to be over 100,000 pounds. It's not going to see light loads. So a lot of times someone will say, well, it's seasonal use. Just give me a light duty. I'm only going to use it seasonal. But while you're only using it seasonal, it's going to see a lot more weight than a typical scale would. In an industrial setting, you're not going to see overloads in an industrial setting, but you will in agriculture. And then the time factor comes in when weather is going to control when they can work, when the crops can come in. So when the weather's good, they got to move. And so you don't want to come up with a process that's going to lengthen the amount of time that it takes to get it done. So you're either going to do one of two things. You're going to store your weight, and then you're just going to weigh your heavy trucks and keep moving all day and subtract the heavy weight, the full weight from the empty weight to get your net weights. Or you're going to integrate your truck scale into your grain setup where you're either going to dump through the truck scale, like there'll be a grate, and you'll just stop on the truck scale, get your heavy weight, dump, and then get your empty weight. Move off. So you're not holding up traffic. It's all part of the flow. Or you maybe have two truck scales and straddle the dump. The benefit to doing those type of processes is you're going to have the real weight. If you're gathering the weight at the beginning of the day, your empty weight, you're burning fuel all day long. So you're not going to account for the fuel loss on your truck if you're using one empty weight all day long. I see a lot of farmers having two scales, one on each side of the dump or a grate in the middle.
So would you say that the most common is having the two scales, one on each end?
I think so. That more than just dumping through the scale, that just put it on, and you can put it on an existing. So he might have an existing dump. We cut back the concrete to get close enough so we can straddle it. And he gets both weightments while he's still on the scale, and he's not holding up traffic. They're moving as fast as they possibly can.
I don't know much about it, but just hearing what you said, that sounds the most cost efficient and time efficient. How do you choose the right truck scale configuration for different agriculture operations, from large grain elevators to mid-sized row crop farms, to maximize accuracy and minimize downtime?
Let's start by one we might not have considered. Agriculture is not always harvest. It's also fertilizer. Put the fertilizer down. If you're hauling fertilizer, and especially if you're loading, and it happens, load the truck right while it's on the scale. Fertilizer is very corrosive, so I'd say the best benefit would be to galvanize your truck scale. And we do that for agriculture facilities that are handling fertilizer. It doesn't eat away at the scale. It reduces the life of the scale to about 1/3 if you
Wow.
are dumping fertilizer on top of your scale. It's
Okay.
highly corrosive.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, so if you're doing a large facility, you want a very durable scale. So you might want to have thicker deck plates, heavier I-beams, things that the BTEC offers that would help, have the durability. You're going to see so much traffic, and all that traffic's going to be overloaded, that it's more about the durability of it. Both would benefit from technology. So digital load cells versus analog. They're more accurate. You know when they're down. An analog load cell can read wrong. A little moisture, a little nick, it'll keep reading a weight. Those weights will all be wrong. If you've damaged a cable on a digital load cell, it's down. There is no wrong weight. It's shuts down. It's kind of like the old
Mm.
analog televisions that were snowy, but you could see a little something, but it wasn't any
Yeah.
good. Well, now you either get the picture or you don't. It helps you diagnose quicker if you're using digital, because it's storing the errors. It can do a self-diagnosis. You're not running around guessing, and the load cells change a lot quicker too.
So in that case, that would help with downtime. Is that
Oh,
right?
extremely fast to change a digital load cell because it's the weight stored in the indicator, the weight
Hmm.
stored in the load cell, the last calibration weight. So you just put the new part in, pull it from the existing parts,
Hmm.
and you are up and running.
So, Don, what would you say, at what point should an agriculture operation switch from a ticket-based truck scale system to some form of automation using farm management software?
Well, you'd be surprised. Almost most all of them use some type of management software, whether it's something that we provide that's integrated into their scale system, or it's something software that their scale's plugged in. Agriculture, you don't just need to know what the weight is. You have to calculate that weight along with the amount of moisture that's in the product, because that's going to dry off the moisture, and your final
Hmm.
weight is what you want to know what you're going to end up with. So there's always a calculation that needs to be done, and they're either doing it in some other software or they're
Hmm.
doing it in software that's built into the scale. Most of the time, though, when you're using your more complex systems, it's because modern farmers are not just farming their farms. They're
Hmm.
farming farms for 5 or 6 other people, and they have to keep track of those yields off each farm and pay those other owners of the farms accordingly. I'd say that's the biggest point. If you have multiple farms that
Yeah.
you're farming, you're going to need the technology.
And what are the top maintenance and calibration best practices for truck scales in high use agriculture environments to keep long term accuracy and avoid costly errors?
So number one is always to keep it clean. Don't let it build up underneath of it. Number two, of
Yeah.
course, would be you need to grease all the parts that are wearing and calibrate it before every harvest. Minimum. Twice a year suggested, but minimum, you need to make sure ahead of time you have that. Lastly, and this is probably the most important in agriculture, is wherever you have food, you have rodents. And
Mhm.
so you either need to have stainless steel braided cables on
Mhm.
the load cells, or sometimes even that's not enough. You'll have to put the cables in conduit, because once you get a rodent problem, they don't just go away. They're
Yeah.
not going to stop. They love to chew on cables. So we do a lot of conduit for grain sites that have rodent issues.
I never even thought of something like that in this type of industry would be like ever become an issue. Looking ahead, What emerging technologies and weighing solutions, from smart truck scales to connected portable weigh buggies, will deliver the biggest efficiency gains and ROI for precision agriculture in the next 3 to 5 years?
It's hard to predict where that's going. Of course, AI will
Hmm.
be involved in some of those calculations that they're doing, but I think more and more it's about getting it wirelessly. You can get the data in real time when it's out in the field, um, at a remote location, stored in a centralized place that can be
Hmm.
accessed anywhere. So you would be looking at a software that also has like a web interface in the backside of it that you can gather that data at any time. That already. Scale
Yeah.
soft.
Yeah. Yep. I was gonna say, any ideas that you give out on this, you better go trademark it.
Yeah.
That's all the questions I have for you today, and the 5 and 5, so we can share our knowledge with customers and maybe potential buyers, and that you feel is important, not only in the scale industry, but maybe the agriculture part of the industry in itself. What's something that we could offer them that maybe they just don't even know?
Uh, I I don't know that there's much that they don't know. I mean, a
Yeah.
lot of people assume that they're just farmers, but they work with technology every day. They work with combines that are
Yeah.
tracking the yield according to GPS and then feeding that into their fertilizer
Hmm.
applications. They're using technology every day.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, you know, are not just wanting a ticket printed. They want to gather the data. That's what it's all about.
Like, if say there's a farmer, watching this right now, can you confidently say, yes, call me today and Brechbuhler can support everything that you need with all your farming tasks and duties?
Absolutely. We're doing it every day and
Yeah.
it's well established. It's not like it's something new that we just came up with.
Hmm.
It's well established. We do it every day and not only for agriculture but for other industries. And it's all
Yeah.
about getting the data at your fingertips when you want it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.